Continues. First two games in Boston. Phillies won Monday night 9-8, and then last night 3-2 behind Mark Portugal. This evening the series shifts to Philadelphia as interleague play continues. The American League so far has won 58 meetings. The National League 54. Went through the stats. 274. The American League about 11 points better than the National League. The American League has out-homered the National League. They have more stolen bases, interestingly enough, than the National League. And obviously a 4.22 ERA for the American League, 4.26 for the Nationals as interleague play continues with some more big series on tap now. Red Sox and Phillies being among them. And, of course, the Yankees and the Braves doing battle tonight down at Turner Field in Atlanta. And the Yankees and Mets all set to square off this weekend. Now, Jerry, we're playing National League rules.
Well, certainly a little bit different. Pitches have to hit now for the Red Sox, but as we kind of featured in the open, Bob, Red Sox not at a terrible disadvantage because a number of their starters, 4 of their 5 starters, have National League experience. And, you know, we show batting average. That really is not important. It's kind of a freak thing when the pitcher gets a base hit. But what they have to do is they have to be able to sacrifice, move runners along, because if they can't do that, it could cost them from being in the ball game late. So those are the kind of things they've got to get done as we take a look there at some of the dimensions here at the Vet, which is the first time I've been here, Bob, and it's a little more cozy than I thought it was, especially those seats that are close to the playing field. But it's a big place.
Now, 64,200 seats for baseball. First time Mo Vaughn and the Red Sox have visited Philadelphia. First time the Red Sox have been here since Ted Williams was playing back in 1954. Last time they played here, the Red Sox did, was a doubleheader back at old Connie Mack Stadium in September of 1954. This is the Vet, which was built in 1971. As mentioned, it seats 64,209 for baseball. It has been the home of the Phillies since the 1971 season. Now, the Red Sox starting lineup tonight features Darren Lewis leading off in center field. Darren Bragg bats number 2 in right, followed by Nomar Garciaparra in the number 3 slot. One bats cleanup. Troy O'Leary hits number 5 in left field. And it's John Valentin at third base. Scott Hatteberg behind the plate. Mike Benjamin gets the call at second base. And the pitcher, Steve Avery, bats number 9.
The Phillies are 11th in the league in defense. They've made 51 errors in 74 games. Tonight, Scott Rolen will be at third base. Desi Relaford, the shortstop. Mark Lewis at second. And Kevin Jordan gets to start at first. Left to right, Greg Jeffries. Doug Glanville will be in center field. And Kevin Setzik in right. Mike Lieberthal behind the plate. And on the mound, making his third major league start, will be Carlton Loewer. He is a 1-0 on the season. That win coming in his first outing against Chicago. As a matter of fact, he's faced the Cubs twice. But in that first outing, became the first pitcher in majors to throw a complete game in his major league debut since Nate Minchey did it for the Red Sox back in 1993, and the first National League pitcher to do it since Tim Wakefield did it in 92. Wakefield, of course, then with the Pirates. But we are told that he has a fastball, a curveball, and a very good circle change, and they say actually his curveball is third best pitch. So we'll see a lot of fastballs and changeups tonight.
Well, we've seen some good pitching so far from the Phillies in the series. We'll see whether it continues with Carlton Loewer tonight. Well, tonight's umpires are being brought to you by NAM, National Arbitration and Mediation, the most timely and cost-effective way to settle your legal disputes. National League umpires tonight. That's Jeff Nelson behind the plate. Charlie Relaford works at first base. Ed Montague will be the plate umpire in the All-Star game out at Coors Field is at second tonight. And Paul Schreiber will be the umpire at third. So the Red Sox need to win a pair here at the Vet to get a split in this 4-game series. With the gang from the city of brotherly love, and Darren Lewis, who sat out last night's game, will lead off. Darren Bragg and Nomar Garciaparra follow here in the first inning. 282 for Lewis. 3 home runs on the year. Takes the first offering from Loewer up and in. 1 ball, no strikes. That's a strike, says Jeff Nelson. Lewis yesterday got his first break since April the 30th, when he sat out a ball game against Anaheim. In to face the right-hander, Carlton Loewer, a product of Mississippi State. I mentioned it's a hot, muggy night here in Philadelphia. Game time temperature 84, and humidity probably to match. More hot, muggy weather due here at the Vet tomorrow. Rounder to short. Easy hop there for Relaford as we play on artificial turf tonight. Relaford over to Jordan at first base. And there's 1 out.
The Loewer has showed good control in his 2 starts, both against the Cubs. He's only walked 2 in the 16 innings that he's pitched, and he struck out 11. The opponent so far only hitting .207 against the right-hander because he was called up from AAA, and he was leading in a lot of categories down there. Called up on June the 9th.
Aaron Bragg, the right fielder, bats number 2 for the Sox, 267 on the year with 4 home runs. Skies this one left field way. Greg Jeffries, bothered by the hamstring last night, in the lineup tonight, makes the catch. And there's 2 outs. One thing we have seen in this series, Jerry, is Philly pitchers do not walk a lot of batters. Schilling didn't walk any. Was it Yorkis Perez walked 1 in relief, and then last night there was Mark Portugal.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. 1 walk in 2 games for Philly pitching. In Portugal last night, after, as you mentioned, Bob, in that game, just disastrous starts beforehand, really did a nice job.
That it was a very emotional win for Portugal, who has not pitched well recently, but came back with his sons in the stands at Fenway Park last night to beat the Sox. Omar Garciaparra skies this one, and it's back in the crowd here at the Vet. Phillies this year are averaging 19,530 fans per game here, coming off a disastrous year a year ago, as we told you about up in Boston. They were last with 68 wins, 94 losses last year, but an improving club and one that has certainly impressed us the first 2 games that we have seen them. Certainly a scrappy team. Couple of come from behind wins for the Phillies at Fenway. They now have 25 on the year as Garciaparra swings and misses.
A little movement on that fastball from Loewer. I wouldn't say he's a sinker ball pitcher, but does have movement back in toward the hands of those right-handed hitters.
Former number 1 draft choice out of Mississippi State University. Fouled off by Garciaparra. Loewer is 6'6". He weighs 220 pounds. He is 24 years of age, a native of Louisiana. First pick in the June 1994 draft. He was the 23rd overall selection. Chopped foul. Nomar Garciaparra, also a product of the 1994 draft for the Red Sox. Two-strike pitch once again. Garciaparra fouls it off once again. That one fouled off a Lieberthal, so it's still 2 strikes. This is Loewer's initial big league activity. They did not call him up last September. Has made his way from Clearwater through Reading up to Scranton last year, where he was 5-13. Much better this time, and called up to the big club is Garciaparra. Bounds this one to first base. Kevin Jordan will handle it. Steps on the bag, and the Red Sox go 1-2-3 at the top of the first inning. The Red Sox scoreless with Philadelphia coming up. Back here at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, the Red Sox going 1-2-3 in their half the first inning. Now the Phillies, for the first time in this series, coming to bat on home turf. Harry Francona is their manager. He has Doug Glanville for the 3rd straight game, leading off and playing center field. Greg Jeffries returns to the lineup tonight in left. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Scott Rolen at 3rd. Kevin Jordan playing first tonight and batting cleanup. Mike Lieberthal, the catcher, bats number 5, and it's Mark Lewis, the second baseman. Kevin Sepsic, who had that great play in the 9th inning of the ball game last night, is in right field tonight. As he Relaford at short, and Carlton Loewer, the pitcher, hits 9th.
Red Sox 10th in the American League. They have 52 errors in 74 games on defense. Tonight, John Valentin will be at 3rd base. Nomar Garciaparra, the shortstop. Mike Benjamin at 2nd, Mo Vaughn at 1st. So Larry, Lewis, and Bragg in the outfield. Hatterberg behind the plate, and on the mound, left-hander Steve Avery. This will be start number 7 for Avery, and as a starter, he is 4-1 with a 3.06 ERA. His last start, he got a win against Tampa Bay, 5 1/3 net ball game, 4 hits and 1 run. And he is 6-5 in his career against Philadelphia. His last start against the Phillies, coming back in 1996, he won that ball game 11-3.
3-game winning streak for Avery as he goes to work here against Doug Glanville, leading off for the Phillies. Glanville takes the first offering from Avery across the plate for a called strike. Glanville, an excellent hitter, has been quiet so far in this series. Had a base hit in the Monday night game at Fenway. 1 for 10 overall, plus a walk, but still hitting .318 on the year with 6 home runs. Steve Avery began the year in the bullpen and went to Pawtucket, where he had one particular disastrous outing, but the Red Sox needed him, backed into the Red Sox rotation, and he has performed very well as a much needed fourth member of that starting rotation. Right back to Avery, a good fielding pitcher, over to Mo Vaughn, 1 out.
Well, it seems like every time that he works now, more comfortable with that new delivery that he's been working on over his last 4 or 5 starts. Of course, the first time he used it, he walked a lot of guys, and you know, you can tell that he was a little bit uncomfortable with it. But as time has gone on, it seems like that he is more comfortable. There's the changeup off the outside edge, tapped right back to Avery. Of course, Avery, an excellent fielding pitcher, and he'll get the first out.
Well, Glanville disposed of. Here's Greg Jeffries. Jeffries was in the starting lineup at Fenway last night. Was scratched in favor of Sefcik at the last minute. .318 for Jeffries this year with a half a dozen home runs. They said it was nothing serious. It was just a slight hamstring problem. He just sat out one night. Right back in the lineup for Harry Francona tonight. Jeffries, as you know, is switch hitter, had 3 hits and drove in a run in the ball game on Monday.
Well, he sat out the game last night, but how about the job his replacement did in left field? Sefcik made a big catch in that 9th inning.
There's a walk to Jeffries. Well, the Phillies get a base runner here in the first. Scott Rolen coming to the plate. Rolen has had some big hits in the series. Had the home run leading off the 6th inning last night. His 15th of the year. That was right after the Red Sox had taken a 2-0 lead against Mark Portugal. Rolen then greeted Derek Lowe with a home run over the left field wall at Fenway Park to cut it to 2-1. Phillies went on to score 2 more runs that inning. And that 3-2 win, or 3-2 lead, held up and turned into a 3-2 win. Rolen hits this one hard. Garciaparra at short steps on the second base bag to force Jeffries and then completes the double play. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. 1 complete. Sox and Phillies are scoreless.
In the ball game, and that belongs to the Phillies as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. This August 11th is Wally the Beanbag Buddy Day at Fenway Park. The first 15,000 fans aged 15 and under will receive a Wally the Beanbag Buddy, compliments of Fenway Franks. To order tickets, call 617-482-4SOX. Red Sox baseball, what a game.
I have looked ahead, and August the 11th is a Nesson game, so we'll be there, Jerry, to get the Wally Beanie Baby.
Looking forward to it. Maybe they'll have a couple of extra we can get too.
I hope so. Desi Relaford leads off here in the 3rd. Takes ball 1 from Steve Avery. Steve Avery and Carlton Loewer matched up here in Philadelphia tonight. Sox on a 5-game road trip. 2 here in Philadelphia, 3 down in Miami against the Florida Marlins. And then back to Fenway next week with the Montreal Expos coming into town. Whoa, right off the ankle. Looked like that time of Relaford.
Didn't he do that last night?
I'm just thinking of the same thing. I think he did.
Hitting from the left side last night to foul the ball off his foot. So now he can put an ice bag on the other one tonight. Right off the shin, it looks like.
That barked all the way up here. One ball, 2 strikes. Get some swinging. First strikeout of the night for Avery. We'll go to our Nesson studios and welcome Bob Rogers to our broadcast. Bob?
I'm glad to be with you, Bob. The Yankees and Braves moving down to Dixie for the final 2 games of their 4-game series. This is not a good sign for the Bombers. Little Ozzie Guillen, who has just 24 career home runs, tags his first of the season. That leads off the bottom of the 1st for the Braves. It's 1-0 in the 2nd.
And back here at Philadelphia, Carlton Loewer bats here for the Phillies. The Mets and Yankees get together this weekend at Shea, being billed as the City Championship in New York. George Steinbrenner, quoted in the papers, as saying City Championship doesn't mean that much. He's after the World Championship.
Yeah, we'll see what happens if the Mets beat him a couple of games.
Exactly. But certainly an interesting week for the Yankees. 4 against the Braves, followed by 3 against the Mets, like the Red Sox had a couple of weeks ago. 1-2 here on the rookie pitcher, Carlton Loewer. Hits it hard. Base hit. Left center field. Kid can swing the lumber. Had maybe of an idea of trying for second, but put the brakes on. Bobbled a bit by Lewis out in left center field, but it's a base hit for Loewer with one out here in the third.
Well, he looks like he knows what he's doing at the plate. That's a good stance. He has a good swing. He's already got 2 hits. Now pitching in his 3rd game, so he's getting the job done. Little bobble by Lewis, but Loewer had just barely made it to first base. Plus, that extra speed in the outfield with Lewis, that will help the Red Sox on this artificial surface.
Big outfield here in Philadelphia. 330 down the lines, 371 to the gaps, and 408 to straightaway center field. Glanville at the top of the order takes one down low. 1 ball, no strikes. 34 multi-hit games. We mentioned a couple of times in this series that among all players in Major League Baseball, only Dante Bichette has more hits this year than does Glanville. 1-1 the count. Glanville doesn't walk a whole lot. He has to get the hits to justify his leadoff position, keep the average up. And he's had his average over 300 all this year. It was a 300 hitter last year for the Chicago Cubs.
Well, as we like to say, he's on a pace for 225 hits. The last Philly to have 200 hits was Pete Rose back in 1979. He had 208.
Drops the bunt down. It's a dandy. Rolling down the third baseline. Rolls foul. Had the right speed on it. The direction was not what Glanville wanted in the end.
Actually, that's what you do want. You either want to bunt it right down the line fair, and if it's not going to be a base hit, you want it to roll foul so you can come back to the plate. So an excellent bunt there by Glanville. I'll tell you, he did a nice job with that. Now on a grass field, grass and dirt, that's they're going to all admire that as he runs out the base hit.
Well, he had the perfect speed on that.
Nice job deadening the ball.
Ball had stayed fair, it would have been a base hit. 2-2 from Avery. Swings away this time, drives it to the gap in left center field. That'll go all the way to the wall. Loewer, the pitcher, rumbling into third base, and stopping at second is Glanville. And suddenly the Phillies have something going here against Avery. Runners at second and third with one out.
Well, anybody else on the team would have scored from first base, but Loewer did not run very well, and he didn't seem to pick the ball up in the gap. He thought maybe it'd be caught, but there was no chance of this ball being caught. 0 for 5 last night for Glanville. Almost had a hit on the bunt. Now he picks up the double. And it's a lot of room in the gaps here at the vet. But incredibly, the pitcher only made it to third base. So that's a kind of a break for the Red Sox. And he was scuffling coming into third, too.
First threat of the night belongs to the Philadelphia Phillies. Greg Jeffries at the plate. And Jeffries takes a called strike. Now 360 for Jeffries this year with runners in scoring position. He'll add to that. Base hit, center field. Loewer scores. Here comes the throw to the plate. Here comes Glanville, and Glanville will score as the throw from Lewis was offline. And on the throw through, Jeffries will go down to second. So the Phillies get 2, and Jeffries is in scoring position.
RBIs number 33 and 34 on the season for Jeffries. He'll go right up the middle with the base hit. Now Vukovic, the third base coach, was holding that second runner, Glanville, at third base, but he ran right through the stop sign and scores easily. Now the throw's going to get by Mo Vaughn, and of course that's going to allow Jeffries to get himself in the scoring position. So not well done here by the Red Sox. The overthrow of the cutoff man is going to allow a base runner to advance, and there's Glanville scoring as he ran through the stop sign.
Throw by Lewis was up the line. In the dirt with the pitch to the rookie of the year last year, Rolen. 1 ball, no strikes. Rolen coming into tonight with a 7-game hitting streak. Get into a double play his first at bat. Hit a hard drive. 1 hopper to Nomar Garciaparra, who forced Jeffries at second and threw Rolen out at first. Avery gets the outside corner, 1-1. Phillies are proving tough customers for Jimmy Williams and the Red Sox this week. Outside corner again. It's 1-2. Jeffries at second. A pair of runs in for Philadelphia here in the bottom of the third. Pitcher started the rally. Loewer singled sharply to center with one out. Glanville followed with a double to left center, and then Jeffries knocked them both home with a single to center, going to second himself on the throw. 2-2 here on Rolen. Avery 4-1 and 1 no decision in his last 6 starts. Beating the Royals, the Blue Jays, the Mets. And Tampa Bay. Only loss of the year came up at Toronto.
Tough time getting together with Hatteberg now on what he wants to throw to Rolen with the 2 strikes. It's interesting, Bob. Last night the Red Sox outfield was shading Rolen to the opposite field when they had 2 strikes on him. Tonight with the left-handed pitching, you see Lewis in center. He's playing in the pull even with the 2 strikes. So obviously their scouting report's different for Rolen when he's facing a righty and a lefty.
Facing the lefty Avery here tonight. Last night it was the right-hander Derek Lowe. Avery's struggles continue here in the third. A full count now on Rolen. Jeffries off second. Payoff pitch is not close. Second walk issued by Avery. And the Phillies have runners at first and second with one out, and Joe Kerrigan coming out of the Red Sox dugout. Avery had 21 pitches the first 2 innings, has had 22 pitches this inning, picking up just 1 out.
Joe Kerrigan was kind of like the tour director last night coming in from the airport. Of course, Joe from the Philadelphia area.
For about the first 20 minutes of the ride, I thought it was all airport here in Philadelphia, but we finally made our way out of it. You can drive forever.
I think we made a couple of laps around the airport.
Jeffries at second base, Rolen at first, Kevin Jordan at the plate. One ball, no strikes on Jordan, who bounced out to Garciaparra at short his first at bat. That one is up high as Avery falls behind now 2-0.
Getting underneath the changeup right now. Every changeup he's throwing is high and it's away from those right-handers.
Runners go back to Avery. Avery goes to second base. The runner's already there. Back to first and safe at first. Now Jeffries and Rolen took off with the pitch on the comebacker to Avery. Avery whirled and fired to second, but Rolen had already arrived.
Yeah, not a good decision there by Avery. When those runners are off at first and second, very little chance, especially on a ball hit like that. You got to get the force at second base. As a matter of fact, Red Sox middle infielders had given up on this play. But there's Avery. He's determined to go to second base. See Benjamin out in front of the bag. They're not expecting the throw. And by the time he goes back to first base, no chance to get an out. Looks like Jeffries hurt himself going into third base too on that slide.
Jeffries bothered by the hamstring. Remember, was not in the lineup at Fenway last night. John Bukovic there, the third base coach of the Phillies. Jeffries going to stay in there. Philadelphia has the bases loaded. They've got Jeffries at third, Rolen at second, and Jordan at first. That's John Wasden in the bullpen for the Red Sox. Avery is in trouble here early. And second base umpire Ed Montague had to get out of the way.
He knew Avery wasn't supposed to throw the ball there either.
So the sacks are juice for Mike Lieberthal. What Avery needs, obviously, is something on the ground his teammates can turn to and end the inning. Right up the middle. It's a base hit. It finds its way through. Jeffrey scores. Here comes Rolen. He will score as well. 4 in now for the Phillies here. In the third, it's 4-1. Jordan stops at second. Lieberthal picks up 2 RBIs on the base knock to center.
Well, Avery is going to be upset with himself because, first of all, he shouldn't have thrown the ball a second, and that's one back through the middle that he could have had. Gets by him up the middle, and 2 more runs come across. So very quickly, 4 points on the board for the Phillies.
Avery gets it. Who knows? Inning could be over.
Would have been an ideal 1-2-3 double play.
Lewis takes one down low. Six-game hitting streak now for Lewis with a double to left back in the second inning. It's been tough on the Red Sox, Lewis has this week. Slices this one foul. Four runs, 5 hits for the Phillies. All of the runs and 4 of the 5 hits coming here in the third. Avery could still use the double play ball. 1-2.
We mentioned the first couple of games. The Phillies second in the league in batting average behind Atlanta. Atlanta comes into the game at 280. The Phillies at 278. Atlanta's outscored Philadelphia, and they've certainly hit a lot more home runs, but they get a lot of base hits. They tack a lot of hits together.
This inning again started by the pitcher. Loewer's 1-out single to center. Lewis lays off, and the count evens 2-2. It's a full count.
And they may have those base runners going again here on the 3-2 count.
Jordan grabs his lead off a second. Lieberthal off at first. Jimmy Williams peering out from the Red Sox dugout. Runners are going, and here's a fly ball hit pretty well to right field. Bragg is back at the wall. It's off the wall. With the runners off, Jordan scores. Here comes Lieberthal. Lieberthal will score as well. It's a 3-base hit, this time for Lewis. Now, Lewis has hit for the cycle here in this series. Had a single, had the home run on Monday night. Had a double and has a triple tonight. And here comes Jimmy Williams. That'll be all for Steve Avery. It is 6-1, or 6-0 rather, Philadelphia. Avery, who has pitched so well for the Red Sox, not tonight. He leaves very early, lasting just 2 1/3. So the call has gone out to the bullpen. We'll take a break. Back with more baseball from Philadelphia after this. Those Phillies again here in the bottom of the third inning. Half a dozen runs to drive Steve Avery from the mound. So Avery's gone, having worked just 2 1/3 tonight, and John Wasden is first out of the chute.
Wasden making his 26th appearance for the Red Sox. He's made 1 start, a record of 4-3, 5.59 ERA. Opponents hitting .293 on the season against Wasden. Last time he worked was against the Phillies a couple of days ago. Stranded one inherited runner in that ball game. Came in the 6th inning. 3rd of inning, 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned.
His 3rd inning started innocently enough with the strikeout of Relaford as the Philly fanatic entertains here at the vet. Looks a little bit like Raymond actually at Tampa Bay, modeled a little bit after the Philly fanatic.
And they say this guy's one of the best in the business right here. Very entertaining. Does a nice job for the folks here at the vet. Actually, it's a new guy for the last couple of years. The old guy who was the Philly fanatic is now going to school to teach folks how to become a mascot. So
interested?
Am I? Well, if this goes, if I get canned here, you never know.
I say, if this goes sour, that might be something else for
you. Can't be too picky. You know?
Only I can't figure it out. Can you imagine how hot it is in a suit like that in the middle of the summer?
Yeah, I can.
Here's Kevin Sefcik, the 9th hitter for the Phillies this inning. Philadelphia batting around against the Sox. Red Sox with the infield in, and Sefcik takes a called strike. The inning began innocently with the Relaford strikeout, but then the pitcher singled Loewer, and that got the Phillies started. And 6 runs later, Avery is gone, and Wasden is on for the Red Sox. Hot shot up the middle, base hit. That'll bring Lewis home with the 7th run of the night and inning for the Phillies. Sefcik an RBI single.
Well, the Phillies looking tonight to put the lights out early, and the fanatic loves every minute of it. This is a 7-0 ball game now here in the bottom of the 3rd. Taking aim right back through the middle tonight. They had a couple like that against Avery. Now against Wasden right through the middle. 7-0.
The touchdown against Avery have added the extra point here off Wasden, although the run is charged to the starter Avery. And here's Relaford for the 2nd time this inning. At the knees for a called strike. 7 runs, 7 hits. And the Phillies have a 7-0 lead. Little pop up and back is short. Nomar Garciaparra will put it away for the 2nd out of the inning. The 2 going for Philadelphia, and the pitcher Loewer bats for the 2nd time. And a busy inning for Loewer. Had a base hit with 1 out to get the rally started. Ran the bases, scored a run, and is now batting for a 2nd time. Sox hope is that maybe Loewer tires himself out with all this offensive activity here in the 3rd inning, and they can get to him in the 4th. Fastball from Wasden, 0-2.
Got a good stance. I mean, he looks like he knows what he's doing at the plate. Slightly closed stance. He crouches just a bit. Has a pretty good swing. I mentioned already 2 hits now for him, and this being his 3rd start.
Last time the Red Sox surrendered 7 runs in the inning was May 24th against the Yankees in a game they lost to the Bronx Bombers 14-4. Seven is the high water mark for the opposition. Sox have not allowed as many as 8 runs in an inning. Remember, Boston had an 11-run inning of its own against the Yankees later in that series against New York. Sefcik here at first base with 2 outs, 7 runs in for the Phillies in the 3rd. Boston deals 1-2. Little pop up here. Bourne backs up at first, will make the catch, and that finally will retire the side. But obviously major damage done. 7 runs, 6 hits for Philadelphia. Phillies enjoy a 7-0 advantage.
3 complete from the vet, a 7-0 Philly lead. Check out NESN.com for exciting promotions and contests. Test your New England sports knowledge with trivia contests and win great prizes. All this and more now available at NESN.com, your online ticket to New England sports.
Nice night for baseball. Nice night to munch on, is that popcorn? Could be pretzels or potato chips. There's the peanuts. Snack at the ballpark. If they're Philly fans, they're happy because Philadelphia is up on the Red Sox 7-0. Sox batting here in the 4th. Well, it was an active half inning in the dugout for Carlton Loewer. We'll see what he brings to the mound here against the Red Sox. So far, 9 up, 9 down.
Maybe they've tired him out, having to hit a couple of times that inning and also run the bases.
Top of the order here, and Darren Lewis. Back in his familiar leadoff role for the Red Sox tonight. Looks at ball 1.
Well, bad news, they're down 7-0. The good news is there's only been 3 innings played, so still plenty of time for Boston.
6 innings to go in this one.
Of course, they do have to shut the Phillies down the rest of the way, too, which is not going to be easy.
Phillies a couple of wins over the Red Sox in the first 2 games of the series. 3-0. Well, that's something that has been rare. Red Sox have not had many walks. That's just the second they picked up in this series. The first off a Philadelphia starter. Let's go to our NESN studios and call in Bob Rogers.
Bob, David Cone and Kevin Millwood both looking for their 10th wins on the season. Cone's going to have a hard time getting it. He's down early, 2-0. Andrew Jones finds the gap in left center field. And that will score Curtis. Pride makes it 2-0 in the 3rd.
7-0 here in the 4th. Aaron Bragg at the plate. A count of a ball. The ball, or was it a strike? That was a strike. So it's 0-1 on Bragg. We get back to the live action here. Lewis at first base. There's another strike on Bragg. Bragg flied out to Jeffries in left field. His first trip. Chopped on the right side. Could be 2. There's 1. Relaford guns it back to first base in time to get Bragg. Bragg has been susceptible to the double play this year and bangs into a twin killing here.
Now that's the 11th double play now that Bragg has grounded into this season. I didn't think they're going to get it once Lewis stood back on this ball, but watch Relaford come across that underarm flip to first base, and they do get Bragg by a half a step.
Desi Relaford, we saw his strong throwing arm from the hole and shortstop at Fenway Park the other night. Nomar Garciaparra with a 15-game hitting streak coming into this one. Nomar bounced out to Jordan at first base back in the 1st inning. Nomar sends this one high and foul down the right field line.
Nomar's also had at least 1 extra base hit in each of the last 6 games. That's 3 doubles, a triple, and 3 home runs.
Yeah, and before last night, what did he have? A streak of 12 consecutive games in which he had scored at least 1 run and came to an end last night. He has all that going on along with the 15-game hitting streak. Three balls and a strike. The rookie out of Mississippi State University, Carlton Loewer. Garciaparra hits this one a long way out to left field. Going, gone. A home run for Garciaparra. He has a 16-game hitting streak. And the Red Sox are on the board against Carlton Loewer. First hit of the night for the Sox, and it goes for the downs.
Again, Nomar keeps that streak alive, the hitting streak, plus that extra base hit streak that he's got going right now. This ball hit a long way out towards center field. Of course, Bob, I've never been here before, so I don't know what a deep home run is in this place. But that went a long way, and they say the ball really carries well here at the vet.
That one was hit well and carried well. It leaves the yard. Red Sox on the board at 7-1. Here's Mo Vaughn. Mo called out on strikes his first trip in the second inning. Omar there explaining to hitting coach Jim Rice. Hitting in the dugout. 3-0.
You mentioned that he may be tired after last inning, and it's showing signs of it here. I mean, he's not the same pitcher this inning as in the first three, falling behind a lot of Red Sox hitters.
See, hitting's tough.
That's why they shouldn't go to the plate. Specialists, they're pitchers.
They should. In for a strike.
You don't see quarterbacks playing defense, do you?
You don't.
You don't see him getting hit in practice, do you?
Here's Vaughn hitting one hard to right field, over to make the catch on the sinking line drive is Septic, and that retires the side. Sox on the board thanks to Nomar's home run. 7-1 after 3.5.
Doug Glanville will lead it off for the Phils. He has grounded out, doubled, and scored a run. Doug batting at .319 with 104 hits on the year, and Wasden's pitches outside. Steve Avery going 2 1/3 innings, charged with all 7 runs, and they are earned. 2 walks and a strikeout on 6 hits. Glanville takes it low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Doug just 3 for 26 coming into the ball game tonight, but the way he's been swinging the bat, you know, it's just a matter of time that he starts to pick it up again. Fly ball shallow center field. Benjamin out. And who wants it? Look out. No man's land, and it dropped. And Doug Glanville just keeps on going, and he's going to wind up at third base as he ran hard the whole time.
That's why you don't take anything for granted. You just keep running. It's kind of a tough sky out there right now, but it was more than anything a lack of communication.
Probably the easiest play for any of them would have been for Darren Lewis, the center fielder, Andy.
Yeah, and that's with the center fielder coming in. He should be coming in hollering for that. It's for either one of them, really, Bragg or Lewis. But it's the toughest play for Mike Benjamin, and I think maybe he might have heard somebody saying something. Maybe somebody said take it, and he thought they said they had it, much the same that Sefcik and Abreu did in Chicago.
Well, Doug Glanville will be credited with a triple, his 6th of the year. He came into the game tied for 2nd in the league with 5 of them. The Red Sox are going to bring their infield in. They can't afford to give up any more runs, trailing 7-1. And Greg Jeffrey's the batter. And Wasden's pitch is high. Greg walked in the first inning and then smashed a single into center field, knocking in a couple in the third. He now has 34 RBIs on the year.
Now, this is not, as a pitcher, what you want to have is a guy on third with nobody out in the infield end. It's your chances are not real good, especially when you're facing 2, 3, and 4.
The infielders aren't real happy about it either. They don't like being that close to the hitter. 2 balls and no strikes as Wasden missed with a changeup. Oh, the Phillies have come out swinging the bats here tonight. They hit well on that road trip, and they picked it up again in this one tonight.
Well, as hot as the Cubs were when they went there for 4 games,
3-0,
and then they go to Boston. Boston playing very well, had won 9 out of 11. I mean, the prospects for this club going and winning 4 out of 6 games, I don't think were real good. I mean, I think they'd have been happy at 3-3, probably realistically maybe 2-4.
Walked it.
Now, I'm not saying that's what they were hoping for. I'm just saying if you look at it against those 2 clubs, the way they were playing, but this club, it is so exciting to watch.
I don't think you're right, and you know we may think like that, but I don't think they think like that.
No, believe me, they're not thinking that way down there. These guys, The thing about it, everybody loves playing together with this ball club, and they play right. They play the game right. They run hard. To me, they play the game the way it's supposed to be played. They do a great job. They're young. They're going to make mistakes, but they're exciting.
Scott Rolen, the batter, and he takes a pitch inside. Scott has grounded into a double play, smashed the ball, and Garciaparra made a heck of a short hop pickup. And then he walked and scored a run in the 3rd inning. Scott coming into the game 7th in the league in runs scored. He now has 53. Wasden is a 25-year-old right-hander. Makes his home now in Jacksonville, Florida. Line drive, base hit left field. Glanville walks in with the 8th run of the game. Stopping at second is Jeffries. 8-1 Phillies as Scott Rolen knocks in his 55th run of the year.
And the hits just keep coming. Scotty gets his ball. Looked like it was got in on him a little bit. Hit it off pretty hard. Just out of the reach of Garciaparra for another RBI. Glanville comes in to score.
There you see the Phillies with 8 runs on 9 hits. They've done all their scoring in the 3rd and now in the 4th inning. Kevin Jordan, the batter, has grounded out. And then Steve Avery made a mistake on a ball he hit, and that really cost him. As Kevin was safe on a fielder's choice, the runners were going, and evidently he didn't notice that or still thought he had a play at second. Threw late the second. Everybody was safe.
Well, he caught the ball and glanced at 3rd, and that's why he had to know that they were running. Plus, when the runners do go, everybody's yelling, there he goes.
KJ takes it inside, 1-1. Kevin in his last 9 games batting at a .480 clip. This is the 7th game that he started at first base. And you see your runners. Jeffries at second, Rolen on at first. There's nobody out. Line drive, that's another hit. That one's going to go to the corner. Jeffries will score. Here comes the steamroller around 3rd. He's being waved home. Rolen is safe at the plate as he got the hand in. 2 more for the Phillies, and they lead it 10-1 here in the 4th inning.
Oh, baby, is this beautiful. Jeez.
Kevin Jordan knocks in his 15th and 16th of the year.
I tell you what, you talk about players that had nicknames. One was Mike Easler, who played in Boston. Actually, did Easler play a little bit in Philly?
Mike Easler?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Pittsburgh. He was here for a little while. The Hitman, they called him.
The Hitman.
Right.
Well, they got one here. As Garciaparra makes his throw, Scotty slides outside there, just gets his hand in. He knows exactly where he's at out there. He knows the throw's coming in, probably from Garciaparra. He's going to make a strong throw. He gets that hand just in there. Hatterberg thought he had the plate blocked, but he did a pretty good job, but with that kind of slide, there's only so much you can do.
Well, the Phillies have almost hit for the cycle in this inning. They have a single, a double, a triple, and a walk.
Kevin Jordan, to me, is the hit man. The man can flat out hit.
He is a professional hitter, as they say.
Yes, he is.
And he can hit anybody. Here's Mike Lieberthal, 1 for 2. As the Phillies are having a heck of an offensive night here. Big crowd on hand, and they're having a ball. Liebe knocked in 2 with a single up the middle his last time up. Scott Rolen, I mentioned, right up there among the league leaders in runs scored. He has 2 more tonight, now has 54 on the year.
Glanville had 54, I believe, coming into the game, didn't he? No, 57.
57, yeah.
He's got 59 now.
Well, when you score 10, there's a few guys piling up some R's tonight.
Yeah.
Glanville with 2, Jeffries with 2, and Rolen with 2. Top of your lineup. First 3 hitters have 6 runs scored. Last time they scored 10 or more runs was on June the 6th against the Jays up at Sky Dome. Phillies are having more fun in interleague play this year than they had last. Of course, they're having more fun, period. This time last year, as he's called out on strikes, they were in the midst of losing 19 out of 20. Won a whole lot of laughs around here. And they are so much better this season. Well, Mike Liebe liked that call, but he's out on strikes.
No, and Jeff Nelson's been pretty consistent around the plate. Terry Francona definitely has to be pleased, but when you're facing an offense like Boston, you don't back off. You keep them runs coming. Yeah,
we saw them put some runs up in a hurry the other night at Fenway. Here's Mark Lewis, what a game he's had. A double and a triple and 2 runs batted in. Fouls that one out of play just off to our left and back down into the crowd. The guy brought his glove. I saw him reach over and I think it clanked right out of the glove back into the stands.
Remind you anybody you know? You can say it.
Hard to catch those balls. Strike call.
That's the way I always felt, especially when you're trying to get out of the way of them.
I know you used to try to avoid that pitcher's fielding practice as much as you could.
And Buki used to love it because he'd just laugh at me.
He'd come find you. High with a fastball from Wasden. These runs, of course, are charged to the reliever Wasden. 3 in this inning. Phillies 10 runs on 10 hits. We are only in the 4th. Ball's hit well to right again. But this time there is room for Bragg at the warning track. Makes the play for the second out. Kevin Jordan will tag and head on over to third. So Lewis retired for the first time tonight. Rest of this homestand, these Boston Red Sox here tomorrow night. Brett Saberhagen, former Cy Young Award winner, on the mound against Phil's left-hander Matt Beach. Game time will be 7:35. First time visit ever by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Friday night at 7:35. Saturday, come on out early for that one. Should be a great night. The Darren Dalton tribute from AAA Mid-Atlantic. And then Sunday, June the 28th at 1:35, Modell Sporting Goods Men's Interleague Cap Day. That's a cap the Phillies are wearing tonight in all these interleague games. 463-1000 for your tickets. Sefcik fouls it back. He has popped up, singled and knocked in a run. Sef getting a chance to play right field tonight. Played left field in the ball game last night.
They might want to wear these hats a little more often.
Remember one year they had those blue hats they used to wear on Sundays, and business person specials, they couldn't win in them. These hats have been pretty good so far. Strike 2 called, 1-2. Here's Bobby Abreu. Phillies are not playing with Bobby Abreu in the lineup tonight, nor Rico Brogna. And they scored 10 runs. Both of them getting the night off with the left-hander Avery starting. Sefcik, good play by Mo Vaughn as he robs him of an extra base hit. Nice play by the big first baseman. Phillies tack on 3 more in the inning. They do it with 3 hits and leave 1. We are through 4, 10-1 Phillies. That's a couple weeks. It had to have been here. Base hit the center by Benjamin. Just over the glove of Desi Relaford. And how about this? They're going to let Wasden bat. They're going to let him suck up some innings tonight, even though they're down by 9 runs.
Benjamin hits this right on the barrel. Desi timed it perfectly, did everything he could there, almost came up with it.
I don't know that Wasden's ever had a major league at bat. He probably hasn't. And Carlton Loewer has an out looking at him right here. If he doesn't overthrow or get in a situation like that, sometimes happen pitcher on pitcher. Wasden taking a pitch for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's only the second time tonight here in the 6th inning that Gabby has thrown from the stretch.
Right, they only have 1 hit or 2 hits now.
And he only did it with for 1 hitter because he got a double play ball.
Yeah, that was after he walked Lewis.